Happy Wednesday. We are in the minor prophets. In particular, this week, we've been focusing on Hosea, who was instructed by God to go marry a prostitute. He does. Shortly after they're married, she leaves him and she returns to her old trade to finance her freedom. He's pushed aside. The first 3 chapters make it clear that he keeps trying to get her back, but she has little time for him. If you read on, you discover that things begin to change for her. Her business model begins to unravel. She becomes a little worn. Her price drops. She starts to get passed from one man to the next. Eventually, she ends up living with a man who beats her, at which point Hosea pleads with her to come back. She will not. In Hosea 2:8, we read that Hosea starts to give money to the man who owns her in order that the man would feed her and care for her. And the man does this without ever letting Hosea or Gomer know that this money is coming from Hosea. Eventually, she is put back on the auction block, stripped naked, sold as a sex slave, and bid on by men. And God tells Hosea to go and to buy her back, to redeem her, which he does even though it breaks him financially. And then he is told by God to treat her well. Hosea 3 reads, "The Lord said to me, go show your love to your wife again, though she is loved by another man and is an adulteress. Love her as the Lord loves the Israelites, though they turn to other gods." So let me point out that this is all set up to smuggle truth under the radar, but there's also something here not to be lost, and that is that Hosea's assignment to follow God, Hosea's assignment is basically incredibly difficult. It's to play the loser. I've shared that there are 3 sort of offices that we see in the Old Testament. They all foreshadow the offices that Jesus will fulfill: prophet, priest, and king. He's the perfect prophet. He's our high priest. He's King of Kings. But in the Old Testament, God used, and there was people had different roles: prophet, priest, and king. And I've said, look, if those are your options, go with king every time. Now, being a king wasn't perfect. Lots of people generally wanted to kill you, including sometimes your own family. But if you could survive that, it was definitely a better gig than prophet or priest. But if you couldn't be king, you wanted to be priest. You did not want to be a prophet. Prophets did not have good lives. Hosea is an example here. I'm in my devotional time. I'm reading Jeremiah right now. It's part of my reading, so I've been moving through the book of Jeremiah. And yeah, you don't want to be Jeremiah. I mean, he's going to end up in a cistern, right? He's going to end up in a well. You got Ezekiel has got to lay on his side for over a year. You got Elijah gets chased by people who want to kill him. Hosea is told to marry a woman who's going to be perpetually unfaithful to him, belittle him publicly. So I just want to pause here and note a really perhaps terrifying thought, but many people assume that God's will for their life is easy and fun and generally includes wealth and health and all these other things. Okay, not for Hosea, right? And God is looking for us to trust him and to be faithful to him. Eternity is plenty of time for God to make amends and set all things right? And again, we don't want justice from God. We want mercy and grace. But I just will point out, God has asked Hosea to do something that is hard and embarrassing. And Hosea responds. Think about that. Back tomorrow.